What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Early Edge, powered by the almighty SportsLine. I'm your host, Alan Bell, and we got a fired-up Saturday show for you. Let's take a look at how we did yesterday. Not a bad day at all. Iowa, come on, baby. They end up winning by 10. We needed them by 12.5, but you know what? That's part of it. But we had a really solid day. The Chanticleer's coming through for us with Jay Smooth, the Machine, M Squared handling his business. And look at the coach. Even the coach handling his business with his picks. But you know what? We're going to do it again on Saturday. Let's bring in the stars of the show who are going to handle that business for us. Gentlemen, everybody looking sharp. M Squared, how we doing, sir?
Good morning, AB. Good morning, everybody. Doing well. Fired up for a huge college basketball slate. One of the last ones of the year of this size. And, of course, round 3 at the Honda Classic.
Yep, you're exactly right. Speaking of college basketball, Jay Smooth, you're going to talk about that here in just a second. But today is a big one, man, and we're so fired up to have you here.
It is go time, guys. To put it lightly, it is go time. March is around the corner. Next Saturday show will be our first March Saturday. I can't wait. We got 145 games on the slate, the last 100-plus game slate of the year, so let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. Andrew Gambas, how we doing, dude? Doing all right?
I'm doing good. Had a tough week last week with UFC, but had a nice bounce back yesterday with Bellator and PFL. So ready to keep that momentum rolling into tonight's UFC.
There we go, bro. And Micah Roberts, the pool, always looking sharp behind you. How we doing, sir?
We're doing excellent. And I just found out my girlfriend told me that her next trip in the summer, we always like to look forward to something, is Nashville. So I'll be seeing you boys sometime in the summer, maybe, I don't know, May or June.
Well, I'll tell you what, let us know when you're coming.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll M Squared, he'll have the red carpet rolled out for you here in Nashville.
Can't
wait to see it. Yeah, that'll be a good time. All right, storylines that affect the betting lines for today. M Squared, I'm going to come right back at you. We've got round 3, PGA Tour. Talk to us.
Yeah, round 3 at the Honda Classic, and it has been an experience at the Honda Classic this year. We all know golf is a pretty high variance sport, but this year, of the top 10 in the pre-tournament odds, 4 of them missed the cut. Sung J M, Tommy Fleetwood, Joaquin Niemann, and Matthew Wolff all missed the cut here at this event, making for a very interesting leaderboard heading into the weekend. A couple guys that I've got my eye on, Shane Lowry, Mito Pereira, really like what they've done so far. Daniel Berger has been the class of the field. He's one of the guys in terms of the odds that have actually been where he should. Brooks Koepka got in there, made the cut. We'll see if he can climb the leaderboard today, but it's going to be a very fun one at the Honda Classic.
I love the way the PGA Tour is already setting up. It's been exciting already, and we've just begun. Like, we've got an entire spring and summer in front of us. All right, speaking of college basketball. All right, Jay Smooth. And speaking of the season, while we're starting the PGA Tour, we're wrapping up the regular season in college basketball, and today's pretty important. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, AB. So we got rivalries today, man. Like, I don't even know where to start. I could break down so many of the games here today. We could talk about how, Tennessee was told not to storm the court if they beat Auburn today. We could talk about some of these big games. That's the way I'm going to go with it. Listen to what we have on the slate. We have Gonzaga, St. Mary's. We have Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma. Bedlam in Oklahoma Day, baby. We have UNC, NC State, huge matchup. We have Lehigh, Lafayette, another crazy big one for those schools. Cal and Stanford hate each other. Washington State, going to be a great one. The 100 miles of hate matchup versus Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee is happening today. That's a bigger football rivalry, but they still don't like each other. And then lastly, of course, we have Texas Tech versus TCU. So it's going to be a loaded Saturday. Wherever you look, you're going to find big games that matter to both teams, even though it's late in the season.
You know what? You bring up that 100 miles of hate, MTSU versus Western. That's where I live. Right? Like, I'm not too far away from Middle Tennessee State. And you're right. Like, those two schools, they hate each other. It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, Andrew Gambas, talk to us. We've got some PFL today. We've got all kinds of stuff in the world of MMA. Talk to us. What do we need to know about?
Yeah, so we actually had some PFL last night. We got UFC today. We have Islam Makhachev taking on Bobby Green. This fight was supposed to be Makhachev taking on Beneil Dariush in what was supposed to be a #1 contenders bout, or at least a title eliminator at 155 pounds. Beneil Dariush was forced to pull out due to a pretty gruesome injury. So Bobby Green is stepping up on short notice. They're fighting at a catch weight of 160. Islam Makhachev is a -900 favorite, so he's one of the biggest favorites of a men's main event in UFC recent memory, for me at least. Probably that's only happened a handful of times over the last 5 years. So Makhachev is definitely a big favorite. It's an uphill battle for Bobby Green on short notice. So I'm looking forward to see if he can step up to the challenge.
You know what? And I'm looking forward to that too. And I'm glad that you clarified that we had PFL last night instead of me saying it today, because anyone that would be looking for it on their television, wondering where in the hell that it was. And yeah, I had messed them up. All right, Michael Roberts. We got NASCAR. Now, Daytona was fun. We got Fontana this weekend. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting, especially because we have a practice here. Last week, we had super speedway racing, bumper to bumper drafting, so essential to winning in that type of racing, but not the same here. This is a 2-mile track, 15-degree of banking on the turns, wide sweeping turns, a lot of room. So not a lot of wrecks. There weren't a lot of wrecks last week either, but Fontana is going to run true to the car, and the driver always helps as well. So what we're going to look for in the practice here is 10 consecutive lap averages, and we're going to look at them. And I'm betting that it's going to be a lot of Hendrick cars and a lot of Joe Gibbs cars. So I think those guys are going to be the strength of this car early on these type of tracks. So that's what I'm looking for here. And it's good to see Fontana back, because it's been since 2020 that they raced on the track. It was the last race before the world shut down. You remember, Alex Bowman won the race. It was like 20-1. That was a good win. But then right after that, Rudy Gobert caught COVID. NBA shut down. College basketball tournament shut down. We shut down for a couple months until May 17, when NASCAR made a return on weekday live network TV, the first to come back. So, welcome back, Fontana.
Welcome back indeed. And, you speak about the cars and the success that they have at different tracks. Like, I find that so fascinating, like last weekend at a super speedway where we saw a lot of Fords that had success, but then we see, different, vehicles, different owners, groups, drivers that have success on road tracks, that have success, wherever. Like, NASCAR is such a fun sport, and it changes seemingly week to week, dependent on which track that you're at. All right, our site play today, we are going to go with, and you heard me talk about it yesterday on the show, Detroit Mercy. -3 at home, Fort Wayne. You all know the deal. We talked about it. Detroit is 100% against the spread at home this season. And look, I realize I might be putting the jinx on them right now, right? But we have to talk about it. Like, I can't just, write it in invisible ink and put it on the wall. So we're going to go Detroit. We'll put it on the wall here. Detroit -3 for today. All right, M squared. You know what? I'm not going to yell like Coach, because I can't do it today. But you do know the drill, son. Give it to me.
All right. 2 plays for round 3 at the Honda Classic. Shane Lowry, -125 against Alex Noren. Shane Lowry put together a really nice round yesterday. I like for him to build on that momentum. He's gaining strokes in all of the right categories. Alex Noren, he's fine. He's okay, but he's definitely not the same caliber of player at this point with their current form. So give me Shane Lowry -125. And then the second one, Mito Pereira versus Lee Westwood. Pereira -115 is where we're going with this. This one, we're getting a pretty nice discount because of the name value of Lee Westwood here and the lack of the name value from Mito Pereira just yet. We're going to be early on him. He's someone who's going to have a lot of success this year. Go looking at the leaderboard in terms of strokes gain data. One thing we love to see is gaining a lot of strokes tee to green consistently and either neutral or negative on the putting greens. That's exactly what we have here. We have a decent putting day at all. We are going to go very low with Mito Pereira. Take him -115 against Lee Westwood.
Yeah, sorry about your luck, Lee Westwood. You got to go down today. Speaking of that, Andrew Gabas. All right, UFC, let us know, man. Who's tuning who up? Who we betting on? Who we taking? Oh, got the J Smooth. You got to hit mute.
How are we doing now?
There we go. We've all done it. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. But yeah, 2 plays I really like today. One of them I gave out during the week on the SportsLine Twitter. That is the Ramiz Brahimaj versus Michael Gilmore under 2.5 rounds. So I believe that fight will end before the 2.5-minute mark in round number 3. I believe Ramiz Brahimaj probably gets a submission, but the under 2.5 also covers a Gilmore KO. I think Brahimaj is the much better grappler, but he is smaller and he he does tend to start fast and could slow down. Things might get sketchy late if he can't finish Gilmore right away. But I think Brahimaj submits him. Gilmore is not the best grappler, and that's Brahimaj's whole game. So I like this under 2.5. We bet it at -135. It's all the way up to -180 now. I had it a little bit higher than -200, so it's still a little bit of value left on it if you haven't been able to get in on it yet. And then the second play I like is Joel Alvarez +200. I bet him at +265 earlier in the week. I really do think this is probably one of the most off lines of the year so far. It's a bold prediction on my part because Arman Sarukian is such a hot prospect, but I'm actually picking Joel Alvarez to win outright. He's the much bigger fighter. He's the bigger hitter. He's the better submission grappling, and I think this is a really tough matchup for Arman here. I'm going with Joel Alvarez as an underdog. I'm going with the under 2.5 in the Brahimaj fight. Let's cash these bets.
I love it. And, with the mute button, we've all done that. Like we just make a joke about it. Now, surprisingly, like you did pretty well. Like you've made it a few shows without doing it. I think a lot of us, we really did it on like our first or second
I've never
show.
done that. I don't know what you're talking about. That never happens to me.
Yeah, it's only named after Jay Smooth. So yeah, I wouldn't listen to that once. So no, I'm kidding. All right, Michael Roberts coming right back at you, buddy. Talk to us.
Yeah, we're going to go over in the Duke and Syracuse game. Duke's gone over 5 of their last 7 games. And at home, Syracuse is 4-1 to the over their last 5. But it's not so much the overs and everything. It's just about what Syracuse does at home. They're a completely different team than they are on the road. And amazing. I look at their season average 77-74, but you take them at home, they're 84-73. And they shoot like 7% higher on the road than they do. At home than they do on the road. So I'm going to go over on that one. That looks like a good one there. And then we're going to your place, Murfreesboro. We're going to Middle Tennessee, 14-0 at home this season, rolling. This team was picked to finish last in the conference. And this is what the transfer portal does. Josh Jefferson killing it. This is his 3rd stop in his career, Illinois State, Green Bay. But he's carrying the team, 14 points a game, doing his stuff. And we've got the streaks here. First of all, Middle Tennessee, best covered team in the nation, 25-1. I mean, you really don't even have to handicap it. You just play a team that's hot like that. They've covered their last 6, won their last 7. And one of those before that 7-game win streak was a win at Western Kentucky, 93-85. And since then, Western Kentucky's won all 7 games. But I'm going to go for the season sweep here with Middle Tennessee. And for NASCAR, I'm going to go with Kyle Busch to win. He is 8-1. I'm also going to bet him in every matchup I see out there other than Kyle Larson. I like him a lot. This guy has loved this track in multiple different cars. He's got 6 Xfinity wins there. He's got 4 wins in the Cup Series, 2 in the Truck Series. He's just Mr. Fontana. He's the active leader in wins, laps led, top 5s, everything. And if you look at his last 9 races there, this is why I'm betting him top 3, betting him to win and betting the matchups. 7 of his last 9 starts at Fontana, he's finished 3rd or better, including 3 wins. That's pretty strong stuff. And you're going to win a lot of matchups with that type of consistency. Worn track, he loves it. And it's just going to be one of those things. He's just going to keep going and moving forward. And I like him to win, 8-1 odds. So Kyle Busch is my play. We'll learn a lot more about the cars here. This is, again, we don't know how these cars run on these type of tracks yet. We'll learn a lot more today's practice. But from the outset, Kyle Busch is my guy.
Well, Kyle Busch, I like it. You're right about Middle Tennessee State, the Blue Raiders in the glass house. They really are. They're the number 1 team in the country in terms of covering the spread. All right, college basketball. You know what, Jay Smooth? You know the rules. Whenever I host, you are in the maestro's position. And, buddy, you came fully loaded with picks today. Fire at us. What do we got?
What if I told you, AB, that this was just the tip of the iceberg? But yeah, it's going to be a fun one. I have 5 picks for the show. So, maybe spread your units out a little bit over them. But let's get started. It's going to take a minute. Dayton, -10 last night where I picked it up. I don't know if it stays under -12, you're probably fine with this one. The line's too low. Dayton's hot. They've won all 5 of their last games by an average of 60 points. They're playing this LaSalle team who, is kind of at the bottom of this conference. We've seen that Dayton has beaten these worst teams in the conference by these large margins. They are playing well. LaSalle really kind of hasn't been it all season. Dayton's covered 8 of 10 games that they've played against teams with losing records. So I do think they will be able to go in, get another double-digit win here, and take care of business. Some good value on the favorite there. Then we're going to go with Penn -1. I think it's out to about -2 now or something, but I still think that's all right. And let me tell you what's going on with this one. It is what we call the business end of the season, right? Teams are playing for their postseason lives. What's going to be going on is that the teams with a lot to play for probably going to be a little bit hungrier. Well, that's what we have with Penn. Penn is 1 game behind the lead in the Ivy League with 9 wins. They need their 10th win today to keep pace with Yale and Princeton. If they can get this win over Dartmouth, they will push for a big game at home versus Princeton, which could give them one of the top 4 seeds, one of the top 2 of the 4 seeds in the postseason tournament. So I think Penn's going to get this done. I don't really think Dartmouth is that great. -1, -2 should both be okay. Then I'm going to go to the Patriot League. Colgate -6.5. I grabbed that one last night. -7 should still be okay. -7.5, you're getting a little risky here. And here's why, because Colgate has won every single game that they've won by at least 6.5 points. That means they would have covered a -6.5 spread on every single win. So if you think they're going to win, there's probably a good chance that they cover this. They have already beaten this Navy team by 19 points on the road. I do think they get it done again. -6.5, too low. They're going to flex their muscles to end the season. It is their last game. New Orleans -1.5. They're playing Northwestern State. We just picked on Northwestern State a bit the other day. If you follow some of my other picks, they're pretty terrible. They're one of the worst 5 teams in defense in the entire nation. New Orleans should be able to get this done. They're a much better team. They're ranked around 230th in the nation compared to Northwestern State, which is like just pretty terrible. UNO has won 8 of its last 10 games, and they're going to look to get this one done. Now, this is actually a really interesting fact about Northwestern. They've won just 5 D1 games all year, and 3 of them have come against Incarnate Word, who, somehow manages to be worse than Northwestern State. So yeah, the small number on New Orleans there looks really nice. And then, all right, Justin, you're taking all favorites. You got to give us an underdog. Fine. Nebraska, Omaha +7. Hold on to your hats. This is gross. This is 2 of the worst 20 teams in the nation. But St. Thomas, a lot worse. They haven't been able to cover at home at all. Only 1 cover in their 9 home games. So they're really just not able to get this done on their own floor. Maybe getting those home court advantage points are maybe too much for them. Probably don't have much of a home atmosphere. Again, this is not a big basketball program college. This is just pretty gross. I think Omaha is going to be looking to avoid a sweep. 7 points here was just too much. I think this one probably closes around 4 points, and both teams probably have a good chance to win. St. Thomas really just doesn't play defense anymore. I don't know when they stopped, but they just don't play defense. So yeah, those are the 5. And then, pay attention, social media. I handicapped all 145 last night. I have about another 13 in my pocket. So we'll see.
That's it? You only handicapped 145 games? Come on.
Just a few.
Now, I will say, you spoke about betting 2 of the worst teams in the country. We actually did that at M Squared's house on a race to 10. And it could get exciting or it could get horrific in a hurry. So, yeah, it's always fun betting those teams that just literally cannot shoot threes. Literally just can't shoot. But, yeah. All right, everybody, grab your paper, grab your pencil. Let's take a look at the recap for today. And it does look glorious. Look what we got. M Squared got Shane Lowry -125. Pereira -115. Jay Smooth's on Dayton -10. I was thinking of NASCAR here. Dayton -10. Penn -1. Colgate -6.5. New Orleans -1.5. Omaha +7. Site play, we're going to go Detroit -3. Micah Roberts, Duke, Syracuse over 151. In the middle, Tennessee State, Blue Raiders -2.5. Gabas, we're going to go Alvarez +200. Ramajov Gilmore under 2.5. And the 2-piece today. All right, a humble but nice money line 2-piece. We're going to go Oklahoma money line, Florida Gulf Coast money line. That pays out a nice +170. All right, so everybody, we've done enough damage for today. Jay Smooth's got another 145 basketball games he's going to break down here and handicap, so we're going to let him get to it. But you have your marching orders. Best of luck, everybody. Let's cash some tickets, and we'll see you tomorrow.